Picture this. You play Russian roulette, pull the trigger, and survive. You win $10 million. Your neighbor works for 20 years to earn the same amount. Who is more successful? Your brain just answered that question, and it got it completely wrong. A journalist shows up to profile you both, two self-made millionaires living side by side. Same house, same cars, same net worth. The article calls you both equally successful, equally skilled, equally worthy of admiration. But here's what the journalist didn't write about. The 5 other people who played that same game. The ones who pulled the trigger and heard a different sound. They're not giving interviews. They're not living in nice houses. They're in the graveyard. And your brain? It doesn't see graveyards. It only sees survivors. This is called survivorship bias. And it's quietly destroying your decisions right now. You scroll through stories of college dropouts who became billionaires. You think maybe school doesn't matter. You see entrepreneurs who risked everything and won. You think maybe reckless bets are the path to success. You watch people who ignored all the advice and still came out on top. You think maybe the rules don't apply to you either. But you're not seeing the full picture. You're seeing the Russian roulette winners, the ones who got lucky and lived to tell the story. The failures, they're silent, invisible, erased from the narrative. And here's the part that should unsettle you. Your brain isn't making a mistake. It's doing exactly what it evolved to do. Your mind wasn't designed to calculate probabilities. It wasn't built to weigh statistical evidence. It was built to keep you alive long enough to reproduce. And for thousands of years, that meant one simple rule: copy what works. Find the survivors. Do what they did. The problem is that rule made sense in a world where survivors usually survived for good reasons: skill, strength, strategy. But that's not the world you live in anymore. Today, luck can look exactly like skill. Random chance can masquerade as genius, and your brain cannot tell the difference. So you mimic behaviors that might kill you. You ignore risks that statistics scream about. You chase outcomes while staying blind to the odds. Your brain is not designed for truth. It's designed for survival. And those two things, they're not the same. This is the hidden cost you've been paying your entire life. And it goes deeper than you think. You just made a decision. Right now, before you even realized it. Your brain scanned this moment, assessed the situation, and chose a response. All in about 200 milliseconds. Faster than a blink. Faster than conscious thought could ever hope to intervene. And here's what you need to understand. That speed? It's not a feature. It's the entire design. Picture this. You're walking through a parking garage at night. Footsteps echo behind you. Your heart rate spikes. Your muscles tense. You're already moving faster before your conscious mind even forms the thought. Someone's following me. That's System 1. Your autopilot. The ancient survival machinery that kept your ancestors alive on the savannah. It doesn't think, it reacts. It pattern matches against every threat your species has ever faced and fires off a response in milliseconds. Now imagine a different scenario. You're sitting at your desk, working through a complex tax problem. You're reading the same paragraph 3 times. Your brain feels like it's wading through mud. You want to check your phone, get a snack, do anything but this. That's System 2. Your intentional mind, the part that actually analyzes, reasons, searches for truth. And here's the uncomfortable reality. System 2 is exhausting. It burns through glucose like a furnace. It demands time and energy your ancestors simply couldn't spare when a predator was circling. So your brain made a choice. a choice that's still running your life right now. It defaults to System 1, always. Think about what this means. Truth requires careful analysis, weighing evidence, considering alternatives. That takes 1 to 2 full seconds of conscious processing. But survival decisions, run, fight, freeze, those happen in fractions of a second. Your brain isn't lazy, it's efficient, ruthlessly, brilliantly efficient at conserving the energy that might mean the difference between life and death. The problem is you don't live on the savannah anymore. You live in a world of complex financial decisions, relationship dynamics, career choices that unfold over decades. A world where the quick answer and the true answer are almost never the same thing. But your brain doesn't care. It's still optimizing for speed, still defaulting to the easy answer, still choosing survival over accuracy every single time. And this creates something dangerous, a blind spot you carry into every important decision you make. But here's where the pattern gets even more uncomfortable. This survival machinery isn't just fast, it's paranoid. That anxious feeling you can't shake, the one that keeps you up at night, the worry that something bad is about to happen, even when everything's fine. You've probably wondered what's wrong with you. Nothing. Nothing is wrong with you. Your anxiety isn't a malfunction. It's a security system working exactly as designed. And that's the problem. Picture this. 50,000 years ago, your ancestor is walking through tall grass. A shadow moves. Could be the wind. Could be a tiger. 2 choices. Run, and maybe look foolish when it's just a bush. Or stay, and maybe become dinner. Your ancestor ran. Every single time. And that's why you exist. Evolution doesn't care about accuracy. It cares about survival. And survival rewards paranoia. Researchers call this error asymmetry. There are 2 ways to be wrong. First-degree errors. You think there's danger when there isn't. You run from shadows. You look ridiculous. But you live. Second-degree errors. You think you're safe when you're not. You ignore the rustle in the grass. You stay calm. You get eaten. Your brain learned a brutal lesson over millions of years. First-degree errors cost embarrassment. Second-degree errors cost everything. So your mind developed what I call the paranoia protocol, a system that screams danger at the faintest signal, a system designed to flood you with fear before you even have time to think. Sound familiar? That racing heart before a presentation, the dread before checking your bank account, the certainty that everyone noticed your mistake. Your brain is treating a work email like a predator in the grass. Here's the part that stings. Every time you feel anxious about something harmless, every time you catastrophize, your survival system is working perfectly. Those false alarms kept your ancestors alive. The ones who stayed calm, they didn't make it to the gene pool. You inherited a mind calibrated for a world of constant physical threat, a mind that treats uncertainty as danger, a mind that would rather be wrong 1,000 times than dead once. Your anxiety isn't evidence that you're broken, it's evidence that you come from a long line of survivors. But here's where this gets complicated. Because that same system that saved your ancestors, it's now being hijacked by something your evolution never prepared for. The need to belong. Picture this. You're sitting in a meeting. Your boss presents a strategy that makes no sense. The numbers don't add up. The logic is flawed. You can see it clearly. You look around the room. Everyone is nodding, agreeing. Some are even enthusiastically supporting the idea. And something strange happens inside you. That clear objection in your mind? It starts to blur. The flaws you spotted, they suddenly seem less obvious. Maybe you missed something. Maybe they know better. You nod along with everyone else. Sound familiar? This isn't weakness. This is your brain executing a survival protocol that kept your ancestors alive for hundreds of thousands of years. In the ancestral environment, isolation meant death. Not metaphorical death, actual death. Being cast out from your tribe meant no protection from predators, no shared food during scarcity, no help when you were sick or injured. Your brain learned one brutal lesson. Being right and alone is worse than being wrong together. So it developed a system that monitors social consensus constantly and adjusts your perception, your actual perception, to match the group. Researchers discovered something deeply uncomfortable about this. When people give wrong answers in a group setting, it doesn't just change what you say. Brain scans show it changes what you see. Your visual cortex, the part that processes raw reality, literally rewires in real time to match the social consensus. You're not lying to fit in. Your brain is editing reality before you even become conscious of it. Think about your own life right now, the political opinions you hold, the things you believe about your workplace, the judgments you make about people. How many of those beliefs would survive if everyone around you suddenly disagreed? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your brain treats social rejection the same way it treats physical pain. The same neural circuits fire. The same alarm systems activate. So when choosing between objective truth and tribal belonging, your brain has already made the calculation. Truth is expendable. The group is not. This is why you can show someone irrefutable evidence and watch them reject it completely. Their social identity is threatened, and to the ancient survival machinery in their brain, that threat is more dangerous than being wrong. You've done this. You've felt the truth dissolve in your mind the moment it conflicted with belonging. And here's where it gets even more disturbing. Your brain doesn't just distort the present to fit in. It actually rewrites the past. You remember exactly where you were, the moment you heard the news, the phone call, the tragedy. Every detail burned into your mind like a photograph, except it's not a photograph, it's a painting, and you're the artist. In 1986, psychologist Ulrich Neisser saw an opportunity. The Space Shuttle Challenger exploded on live television. The nation watched in horror, and Neisser knew this was the perfect moment to test something uncomfortable about human memory. The next day, he asked 106 students to write down exactly how they learned about the disaster, where they were, who told them, what they felt. Every detail, fresh and raw. Then he waited 3 years. When he brought those same students back and asked them to recall that moment again, something disturbing happened. Their memories had changed, not slightly, dramatically. People remembered being in different rooms, with different people, hearing the news in completely different ways. Here's the part that should unsettle you. When Neisser showed them their original written accounts, their own handwriting from 3 years earlier, many refused to believe it. They insisted their current memory was correct. The physical evidence in front of them had to be wrong. The confidence was absolute. The accuracy was almost zero. This is the memory paradox. Your brain doesn't record experiences like a camera. It reconstructs them. Every time you remember something, you're rebuilding it from fragments, filling gaps with assumptions, smoothing edges to fit your current understanding of who you are. And that reconstruction serves one purpose. Not truth, survival. Your brain needs you to believe you're consistent, that past you and present you are the same person with the same values, making sense of the same world. Without that illusion, identity fragments. Decision-making collapses. You can't function if yesterday's version of you feels like a stranger. So your memory edits. It revises. It creates coherence where chaos actually existed. That argument you remember winning? You might have lost it. That moment of courage you're proud of, the details have shifted to make you the hero. That relationship you're certain ended because of them? Your brain has been quietly rewriting the script for years. The memories you trust most, the vivid ones, the emotional ones, the ones you'd bet your life on, those are often the most constructed. And every time you recall them, they change a little more. But here's where this gets dangerous for your daily decisions. You think you know yourself. You think you know what you'd do in any situation. You're wrong. There's a version of you that exists right now. Calm, rational, reading these words. And there's another version waiting in the shadows. A version you've met before. A version you barely recognize. Researchers at Berkeley ran an experiment that should terrify you. They asked young men a simple question. Would you ever have unprotected sex with someone you just met? Would you pressure someone into going further than they wanted? The answers came back exactly as you'd expect. No, absolutely not. I would never do that. Then the researchers changed one variable. They induced arousal. Same men. Same questions. Completely different answers. Their willingness to take dangerous risks didn't just increase, it doubled. Sometimes tripled. One participant became so unrecognizable that researchers noted he seemed like an entirely different person. The calm, principled man who answered those questions 20 minutes earlier had simply vanished. And here's what haunts me about this study. He wasn't lying in the first session. He genuinely believed his answers. He thought he was describing himself. But he was describing a stranger, someone who only exists when the biology is quiet. This is the hot-cold empathy gap. And it's not just about arousal. Think about the last time you were starving. Remember how food looked different? How your standards dropped? How that gas station burrito suddenly seemed acceptable? That wasn't a different preference. That was a different you. Your brain contains two systems fighting for control. The intentional system thinks it's in charge. It makes plans, sets goals, promises you'll be disciplined tomorrow. But the autopilot system, it runs on survival imperatives millions of years old. Hunger, fear, reproduction. And when those drives activate, your rational mind doesn't get overruled. It gets hijacked. The self-control you're so proud of, it's conditional. It works beautifully when nothing threatens survival. The moment biology kicks in, you become someone else entirely. You cannot predict your own behavior, because the person making predictions isn't the person who will be making decisions. Sound familiar? Think about every promise you've broken to yourself. Every time you said, "Never again," and then watched yourself do exactly that thing. You weren't weak. You were two different people. But here's where this gets even more uncomfortable. Because there's another survival system running right now, one that distorts your perception of risk itself. You see a headline, 1% of a chemical in your drinking water is toxic. 1%. That's almost nothing. Statistically insignificant. You should feel fine, but you don't feel fine. You feel a knot forming in your stomach. You're already thinking about bottled water. Filters. Moving. Now flip it. 99% safe. The exact same information. Your brain should process these identically. It doesn't. This is probability blindness. and it's running your decisions right now without you even noticing. Your survival brain, the ancient machinery that kept your ancestors alive, doesn't understand percentages. It doesn't process statistics. It operates on a brutally simple binary, safe or unsafe. That's it. 2 categories. No gradients, no nuance. Picture this. A man named David reads that his flight has a 1 in 11 million chance of crashing. He knows the math. He's seen the statistics. Driving to the airport is objectively more dangerous. But when turbulence hits at 30,000 feet, his palms sweat. His heart races. His mind floods with images of wreckage. The numbers vanish. All that remains is unsafe. Sound familiar? Researchers call this base rate neglect. Your brain systematically ignores statistical baselines in favor of emotional weight. A vivid story about a shark attack overrides decades of data about ocean safety. One news report about a plane crash erases millions of safe flights from your mental calculation. Your ancestors didn't need probability, they needed speed. A rustle in the grass wasn't a statistical problem, it was a potential predator. Calculating odds meant death, reacting meant survival. So your brain evolved to skip the math entirely. And here's where this gets dangerous for you. Right now, today. You're making financial decisions based on fear, not data. You're avoiding opportunities because one failure story looms larger than 100 successes. You're overestimating threats that barely exist while ignoring risks that are actually killing you slowly. The safe-unsafe binary worked perfectly in a world of immediate physical danger. But you don't live in that world anymore. You live in a world of complex probabilities, investment returns, health statistics, career risks, relationship odds, and your brain is still running ancient software, treating every uncertainty like a predator in the grass. The numbers are right in front of you, but your survival instincts refuse to see them. But this probability blindness connects to something even more insidious, a bias that doesn't just ignore the odds, it actively rewrites them in your favor. 80% of new businesses fail within the first 5 years. 80%. That's not a guess. That's not pessimism. That's the data. Now here's the uncomfortable part. Ask any entrepreneur starting a company today what they think their chances are. They don't say 20%. They don't even say 50-50. Most of them genuinely believe they're going to make it. Not hope. Believe. And you've done this too. Maybe not with a business, but with a relationship you knew was fragile. A career move that looked shaky on paper. A plan that required everything to go right. You looked at the odds, and you ignored them. Your brain called that confidence. But here's what it really was. A survival mechanism older than language itself. Nature doesn't reward realism. It rewards action. The cautious ancestors who calculated every risk, they hesitated. They waited. They got outcompeted by the ones who charged forward despite the danger. Optimism isn't a personality trait. It's biological fuel. It's the chemical push that gets you off the couch and into the arena when the numbers say you should stay home. And for most of human history, this worked beautifully. When the risk was a failed hunt or a lost battle, overconfidence meant you tried again tomorrow. The cost of being wrong was survivable. But now the stakes have changed. Now overconfidence means emptying your savings into a venture that statistics say will collapse. It means staying in situations that are slowly destroying you because you're certain things will turn around. It means making irreversible decisions based on feelings that evolution designed for a completely different world. Here's the distinction your brain refuses to make. Optimism for action is different from optimism for planning. You need the first one. That irrational push that says, try anyway. That's what gets remarkable things built. But optimism for planning, that's where people lose everything. That's where you sketch out projections, assuming nothing goes wrong. That's where you commit resources based on best-case scenarios. Your brain doesn't separate these. It floods both with the same confident feeling. And that feeling, it's lying to you. The entrepreneurs who succeed aren't the most optimistic. They're the ones who feel the optimism, and then force themselves to plan like pessimists anyway. But planning requires something your biology actively resists. It requires sitting with discomfort long enough to think clearly. And that's where your chemistry starts working against you in ways you've never noticed. You just got blindsided. Someone said something, did something, and now your chest is tight, your jaw is clenched. Every cell in your body is screaming at you to react. And you want to. You want to fire back that email, send that text, say exactly what you're thinking. Stop. Because right now, at this exact moment, you are chemically incapable of seeing the truth. This isn't weakness. This isn't a character flaw. This is biology running its ancient program. When you get triggered, really triggered, your adrenal glands flood your system with cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate spikes. Blood rushes to your muscles. And here's the part nobody tells you. That chemical cocktail physically cuts off access to your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for reason, for perspective, for seeing the full picture. It goes dark. Picture Sarah. She's a project manager, smart, capable. She gets an email from her boss, questioning her judgment in front of the entire team. Her face flushes. Her fingers are already typing a response, defending every decision she's ever made. She hits send. 25 minutes later, she reads what she wrote. Her stomach drops. The email is defensive, aggressive, nothing like how she actually wanted to handle this. Sound familiar? That gap between what you do in the moment and what you wish you'd done? That's not you being irrational. That's you operating while your biology has hijacked your higher brain. The research is clear. It takes 20 to 30 minutes for those stress hormones to metabolize. 20 to 30 minutes before your prefrontal cortex comes back online. Before you can actually think. During that window, truth is biologically inaccessible to you. You're not making decisions. You're reacting to a chemical state. So here's the protocol. And it's non-negotiable. When you feel that surge, the heat, the tightness, the urgent need to do something right now, you wait. 30 minutes minimum. No decisions. No responses. No conversations you can't take back. Tell yourself this. My brain is currently offline. I'll handle this when I come back, because you will come back. The chemicals will clear, and when they do, you'll see the situation completely differently. Options that were invisible will suddenly appear. Responses you couldn't access will become obvious. The truth was there the whole time. Your biology just blocked the door. But here's where this gets even more unsettling, because there's another process running in the background, one that doesn't just block truth temporarily. It actively rewrites what you believe is possible. You've spent this entire journey hearing about how your brain distorts reality, how it lies to you, how optimism blinds you to danger. But here's the twist nobody talks about. Pessimism isn't a flaw, it's a feature. Picture a tribe 40,000 years ago. Two types of people sitting around the fire. The optimists, eyes bright, already planning tomorrow's hunt deeper into unknown territory. And the pessimists, arms crossed, convinced that venturing too far means death. Now ask yourself, which one survived? The answer isn't what you expect. Both did, because they needed each other. The optimists pushed the tribe forward. They found new hunting grounds, new water sources, new opportunities that kept the group from stagnating into extinction. But the pessimists, they were the ones who said, wait, who hoarded food when times were good, who refused to risk everything on a single gamble. When the optimists walked into a trap, attacked by predators, poisoned by unknown plants, lost in unfamiliar terrain, the pessimists were still alive, still protecting the children, still guarding the resources that kept everyone breathing. Researchers call this defensive pessimism. And it's not weakness, it's resource guarding for the entire group. Think about your own life right now. You know someone like this. Maybe it's you, the person who always sees what could go wrong, who plans for the worst, who gets called negative or cynical or exhausting. But here's what nobody acknowledges. That person has saved you. Maybe not dramatically. Maybe just by asking the question nobody wanted to hear. By pointing out the risk everyone else ignored. By being the voice of caution when optimism was about to drive you off a cliff. Your brain's negativity bias, that tendency to weight bad outcomes heavier than good ones, isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it evolved to do, protecting what you already have. The real insight isn't that pessimism is good or optimism is bad. It's that truth lives in the tension between them. One without the other creates disaster. Pure optimism blinds you to genuine threats. Pure pessimism paralyzes you into missing genuine opportunities. Your brain isn't confused. It's running both programs simultaneously. And the friction you feel, that internal argument between hope and caution, that's not dysfunction. That's the mechanism working exactly as designed. But here's where this gets dangerous. Because in the modern world, that ancient balance has been thrown completely off. And what happens next explains why your survival instincts are now actively sabotaging you. You survived the savannah. Your ancestors outran predators, avoided poisonous food, and navigated tribal politics for millions of years. Their instincts kept them alive long enough to pass those instincts to you. You inherited software written for a world that no longer exists. Picture this. Your ancient brain spots a shadow in the grass. It floods your body with adrenaline. You run. Maybe it was a lion. Maybe it was just wind. Doesn't matter. You're alive. That response made perfect sense 10,000 years ago. Now picture yourself staring at a stock chart, red lines dropping, your portfolio bleeding value. That same ancient brain floods your body with the exact same chemicals. Run. Sell everything. Escape the danger. But here's the brutal mismatch. The savannah lion either ate you or it didn't. The market? It recovers. It always has. Your survival instinct just cost you your retirement. Sound familiar? This is the modern trap. Ancient software running in a complex world. Your brain evolved for immediate threats with clear solutions. Run or fight. Eat or starve. Trust the tribe or die alone. But modern problems don't work like that. Your career doesn't have teeth. Your investment portfolio won't chase you. That email from your boss isn't a predator. But your nervous system cannot tell the difference. Consider Marcus, brilliant analyst, 15 years of experience. He watched his company's stock drop 30% in one morning. Every instinct screamed sell. His gut churned. His hands shook. He sold everything at the bottom. 3 months later, the stock hit all-time highs. Marcus didn't lack intelligence. He lacked the ability to override programming that served his ancestors perfectly, but destroys him in complex systems. Here's what makes this particularly painful. The more uncertain the situation, the louder your instincts scream. And modern life? It's nothing but uncertainty. Your brain wants simple, good or bad, safe or dangerous, friend or enemy. But your career exists in endless gray zones. Your investments operate on timelines your emotions can't comprehend. Your relationships involve nuance. Your tribal programming never evolved to handle. You're trying to navigate a quantum computer with a Stone Age operating system. And the cruelest part? Your intuition feels so right. That gut feeling seems like wisdom. It's not. It's ancient code misfiring in a world it was never designed to understand. But here's where it gets even more uncomfortable. This mismatch doesn't just affect your money. You want to believe you earned it. That promotion, that lucky break, that moment when everything just clicked into place. Your brain whispers that it wasn't random. It was you, your choices, your skill, your careful navigation through chaos. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your brain is lying to you, and it's doing it on purpose. Picture this. A man named Gerald sits at a casino table. He's been playing blackjack for 3 hours. He's up $2,000. And right now, in this exact moment, Gerald believes something dangerous. He believes he's figured out the pattern. He's reading the dealer. He's sensing when to hit, when to stay. Gerald isn't skilled. Gerald is experiencing the illusion of control, and that illusion is about to cost him everything he's won, plus another $3,000 he cannot afford to lose. Sound familiar? Your brain cannot tolerate randomness. It physically rejects the idea that outcomes might be disconnected from your actions. Because if the world is truly random, if skill and effort don't guarantee results, then you're not safe. You never were. And that terror, that existential dread of meaningless chaos, your brain will do anything to avoid it.